What's up everybody, Chase here with Everett Chevrolet, here today to bring you another exciting video about two pre-owned, in-demand models we have on our lot. Behind me we have the 2024 Ford Bronco Badlands, and we have a 2022 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon. Let's compare and contrast these two, and hopefully by the end of the video you will have a clear choice on which vehicle would be best for you. So this 2022 Jeep Wrangler has the 3.6 liter V6 motor that you are familiar with in your Jeep lineup. They've been using this motor for quite a while. It's very reliable and it makes great figures. 285 horsepower, 265 pound-feet of torque, enough to carry you over the road. The Jeep Wrangler has a long-standing heritage and history in the United States as far as being the best off-road vehicle, and it's very affordable. As well as retaining most of its resale value, the Jeep Wrangler is a great choice for families who are looking to get out on the weekends, as well as explore anywhere at any time. Both these vehicles we're talking about today are body-on-frame SUVs. They are taking notes from each other. Of course, the Bronco came refreshed just a few years later after they have never stopped making a Jeep. What separates this Jeep from the newer Bronco is that it has a solid front axle. A lot of off-road enthusiasts will tell you that this solid front axle is what separates the good from the best. And I can't personally speak to that. I have off-roaded in a Jeep before. My first car was a Jeep. But I can tell you that this solid front axle also has some downsides. As far as everyday drivability, if you plan on using this as a daily driver, you're gonna notice a lot of road feel. It's gonna have a lot of tension on the steering wheel. It's gonna be just a little bit more uncomfortable than our updated and newer Bronco Badlands. Now, as far as towing capacity and everything, these all share the same numbers as approach angle, departure angle. They are very similar. This actually has about an extra inch of ground clearance on this Unlimited Rubicon. Of course, if you want to add 35s to this or that, you're going to get even greater ground clearance, up to 11.5 inches. So around back in the Jeep Wrangler, underneath this storage area, you will find very conveniently spots to put your bolts for your roof, your door hinges, just to keep you organized and situated. And underneath this, you will actually have your jack. So you're left prepared. Of course, you have your spare wheel on the back right here. So on the inside of this Rubicon, we have a very utilitarian setup. Every option has a button, which I'm sure a lot of you will love. This is a smaller 8-inch display screen, but you can still connect your phone via Bluetooth and look at maps and such. You have your controls for your electronically locking front and rear differential right here, as well as your sway bar disconnect and your auxiliary switches for all your lights and any accessories you might want to add later on. Jeep took the time to put those right there. And of course, it's a Jeep and you're meant to take your doors off, so they leave your window switches right here because you don't want all that extra wiring going to your door. All it takes is a removal of this strap and a few bolts, and boom, your doors are off. Not to mention the roof. It's a hardtop roof. You can take this off as you could with any other Jeep. Now, switching gears to the 2024 Bronco Badlands, this is pretty much the same thing. It's a body-on-frame SUV, avid off-roadman. As I mentioned earlier, it does have independent front suspension, and that's gonna contribute to an overall better daily driving feel. As far as going off-road, it's not quite a disadvantage, and whenever it comes to your more unstable and really big rocky terrain, I think that solid front axle is going to win. However, this still has electronic front and locking rear differentials and an electronic sway bar disconnect. You also get an upgraded steel bash plate up front and underneath your body, whereas the Jeep, it is plastic. Now, that is up to you whether that's a good or a bad thing. Some might say that the front bash plate is sacrificial and meant to get damaged, whereas if you hurt this thing, it's just gonna get dented. I think that's quite an advantage. You don't have to replace it every time you go off-roading and hit a rock up front. Around to the side, you're gonna have your same BF Goodrich all-terrain tires. They are the KO2 series, and they are 33 inches. You can fit 35s on here, and actually that's one of your options from Ford to upfit it with the 35-inch wheels. But I think these 33s are gonna do just fine. This still also has a V6 motor, but with much better power figures. Yes, I'm talking 330 horsepower and up to 415 pound-feet of torque. That sends all that power down through a 10-speed automatic transmission. And that's just 2 extra gears from your automatic transmission versus the 8-speed in the Jeep Wrangler. One thing that's important to note about both of these vehicles is that they are available in manual transmissions. You can get the 6-speed in the Jeep and a 7-speed manual in the Ford Bronco. Now, this setup does make just a little bit less miles per gallon, about 3 miles less per gallon than our Jeep, surprisingly enough, but where it shines is on the inside. Let's check it out. So on the inside of the 2024 Bronco, you get yellow highlights across your grab handles. Your grab handles are right here to help you get into the vehicle, as well as yellow stitching all across your dash. Now, what I really love about the Bronco is that you have all your controls for your front and rear locking differential and sway bar disconnect right up here, as well as traction control. It's a lot more accessible than the Jeep that's way down here. And right here is gonna be your wireless phone charger that you don't get in the Jeep Wrangler. Of course, this is a few years newer and it is updated and it's a little bit more expensive. But what you're paying for is the convenience of all these features and the technology that's packed into this Bronco. You get a massive 12-inch display with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is wireless, by the way. You also get terrain select mode. So that's your go over any terrain mode. You can select that for up to 7 different modes of off-roading. It's fast, it's responsive, and it's less manual controls that you have to switch up as you're going down the trail. And another thing worth noting is that your auxiliary switches are all up here, and you also get 2 additional auxiliary switches. So around in the back in the trunk space area of the Bronco, you can see that there is actually quite a bit more space for storage, and it's not carpeted. You have this rough and rugged material that can get dirty and be sprayed off with no problem. There's also these clamps to help secure any additional gear that you might have. This came with the car. Underneath, you have extra storage for your materials and your jacks. And that about wraps up our review comparing the Wrangler to the Bronco. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. I hope you also discovered which one might work out better for you. If you're just looking for something to take off-road, maybe family trips on the weekend, this would be your best bet, especially if you're looking to upgrade it and go off-road. This is your Swiss Army knife vehicle. I think this is perfect for daily driving, commuting to work, and I think it's great for off-roading. Now, of course, we couldn't show you taking these vehicles off-road. We want you to do that and enjoy these vehicles. However, they are both extremely capable. This one's a little bit newer with a little bit better technology, but this one is the tried and true American favorite, full of history and full of American heritage. You also get the Jeep community Jeep Wave. So if you're interested in either one of these vehicles, come by our lot in Hickory, North Carolina, check them out and check out our new inventory. Remember guys, we have the best pre-owned inventory because we have the best new inventory.